Good morning, everybody. My name is Hagen of Lettuce Comics, and this is the Sunday Comic Book Hangover Show. I'm joined, as always, by Nate from Hollyyak Comics, and today we have got MJ Comics with us. How are you guys doing?
Doing great.
I'm very well. Thank you very much for having me today. I'm really excited to be part of the show.
Yeah, thanks for coming on, man.
Yeah. Especially we were just talking about time differences and trying to line things up across time zones. So, yeah, it's really cool to be able to connect with people all over the world like this. It's just, it's not always easy to line it up. So it's what time for you?
It's 2:30 in the afternoon. I was literally just having this discussion with my wife. Like I was all flustered, trying to get ready, trying to get a drink, and she was like, "Relax. It starts at 3 o'clock." And I went, "No. It starts at 2:30. It starts in like 3 minutes." Like you've put in the calendar. It starts at 3 p.m. And I was like, "Yep, that was just a rough guess that it was going to be about that time." So yeah, I'm glad I made it here. To be fair, so.
Awesome.
No, we're glad you made it here too. And before we get too into it, there are some other people that we're glad who made it here. First up is Eric from SideQuest Comics. Now, I have a question for you, Eric, and you, Christina. Y'all came in at 3:58 a.m. and 4:31 a.m. Were you still awake, or did you wake up? Either way, it's awful, and you need to rethink some stuff. But yeah, I'm curious about that.
Night owls,
Neither
obviously.
situation is okay with me.
Yeah.
Yeah. Thank you guys both for being here. Phil from Phil's Treehouse is here. I better start drinking so I have time to get hungover. That's why it's an hour long, is so that you have enough time to go through the whole spectrum of emotions there. Eric of Himbo Comics is there. What's up, man?
How you doing?
Cliff is here. And he's way too excited for today's show because his love for you is great.
Thanks, Cliff. Love you too, buddy.
Cliff was a guest on James's show along with a lot of other people.
Yeah.
We've got Rich from Big Nasty Comics. Hey, dude. Matt from Impressed Comics. Mark's Issues with Archie Comics. Happy Sunday, sir.
Happy Sunday.
John, JSS Brooklyn is here. Hey, man, how are you?
How you doing, buddy? Yeah, good to see your name there.
Michael, just Michael is here.
Just Michael.
Mr. Wellbore is here.
From Canada.
Brian LCS is here. I'm trying to get through names, but there are just so many people that are here with us this morning. K Munin, the scoffer, is here.
Hey, K Munin, good morning.
I wonder if
good to see you, man.
I wonder if Brian LCS wants me to bring up that I was the first ever comic book community award winner.
You should bring it up.
You absolutely should bring it up.
Yeah, I think I'm like one of those promo stories, just waiting to happen for him.
And we've got Doug, the comic collector coach, here.
Doug,
awesome.
And I think
you may have done it.
I think that's it. But yeah, so if you want to start there, we could start there. You were the very, very first community award winner.
That's true, yes. The People's Choice Award, 2021. Got it right here, actually. Just here.
Oh,
very cool.
Very cool.
Well, tell Brian if you're watching, I'm a bit disappointed. This one doesn't light up like all the new ones do, but you know, it's pretty cool. And you know what's even cooler is that the stand that it comes in, you can fit graded cards in that as well.
Oh.
So I'm desperate to see where you got that made from. So
it's Pokemon time.
Yeah. But no, it's one of the things I'm most proud of for the channel. And I'm not gonna lie, like me and my brother won it together, but it's probably we kind of had like the whole of the UK voting for us, so it's probably a bit unfair when it came to it. But there was some great other channels involved in that People's Choice Award, so give a shout out to it was like AR Comics, E-Man, shout out to him, and to Jen from Comics Will Break Your Heart, rest in peace as well. She's all fantastic channels.
So in 2021, when you won that, how old was your channel at that point? How long had you been doing this?
Maybe like a year old, like I want to say. A
Okay.
year old.
So you started in 2020. Did that have anything to do with like the comic boom that happened around that time, or like why did you start? Why did you start doing this silly thing that we all do?
Well, as it, it started off obviously because of COVID, the pandemic. I got my brother into comic books like during that time, and he was like really like massive on sending books off to CGC and getting it. It wasn't for like the love of comic books like I had. His was pretty much like, I want to throw my money at this. I want to get, I want my money in return in graded comics. Basically, he saw it as an investment. And we'd submitted a, a load of books off to CGC together, and we had them come back. And at the time, there was a couple of people in the UK doing like CGC unboxings on YouTube, or they were putting it up on Facebook or and stuff on Instagram and stuff. So my brother begged me if we could film us unboxing it, and I was like, I'm really not comfortable being on camera, and I'm quite if you compare me to my brother, like my brother is so, we're like the polar opposites. Like I'm like, I'll get excited, but I don't get as excited to the same level as him. Like he's over the top for me, I find. So I filmed the video, and it was like 40 minutes long, and I couldn't upload it to Facebook because he wanted to put it into his Facebook group. So I had to upload it to YouTube to put the link on Facebook. And then that's literally how it started. The video got like, like, I don't know, like a few hundred views. And we're like, wow, this isn't like, people want to see this kind of stuff. So then it quickly, like, MJ is Michael and James. That's how it started off. It's not like Michael Jordan or James Mack backwards. It's literally Michael and James. That's how it started. But we did it together, but it kind of, I would probably say, don't do stuff like this with family. Just because one person ends up doing everything. And, I love my brother to death, but he had no input in creating thumbnails, editing videos, thinking of stuff to talk about. He might occasionally come up with an idea, but, all the hard stuff to do with YouTube was all done by me. And then like, it'll be like, can you film a video tomorrow? Like, in a few days. Oh no, I'm too busy. I can't do it until 2 weeks time. Well, YouTube can't really wait like 2 weeks for a video. Like, so that's how it kind of really got, it kind of fell away at the wayside. And like, I stopped doing stuff like a year in between, because we've been on for 5 years now nearly. And I thought, I'm just going to give this a go by myself. And that's why I'm here kind of today, really. I started doing the interviews, and that really kind of took off for me. So I'm quite proud of that.
Yeah, your interviews they're really good.
Thank you.
The way that you bring somebody on and you focus and just on them, and I have really enjoyed, especially the ones recently, the people that I know a little better.
Yeah.
Cliff and John's Comics with Kids, and Mark from Legion. So I really enjoy your interviews a lot, man.
Thank you. Yeah, the whole point of the interviews for me, it's not about me. I'm just a vessel, like the channel is or whatever. It's really about the people that I bring on. And like, I kind of feel like for YouTube personalities or anybody in like social media and stuff like that, I want people to kind of see that we're just normal people. We're not, we're not like trying to be anything else, and I'm trying to humanize the way that the audience sees us. And I just try my best just to have a human conversation as best as possible.
So how do you react then when you are not the person in the interviewer seat, where you're sitting in the seat that you're in now, where we are the vessels here. Like this is the MJ comic show right now. You know?
Yeah. I get you. It's almost a relief, I'll be honest with you, because it's like I haven't had to do any like preparation. I got some books and stuff to show off and all that, but like I haven't thought about what I'm gonna say. I literally have just come here to hang out, have a casual conversation, and like it's a relief because I get severe anxiety for my interviews and going live because like I don't want it to be I don't want it to be boring, but I don't want it to like I don't know. I want it to come across as good for the person who comes on. Not necessarily for me. I can mess up and say whatever, you know. But as long as the person who comes on, they don't come on and people say like, "Oh, that person's horrible," or "That person's a douchebag," and stuff like that. I really want people to like the people that I bring on because, you know, I specifically choose people that I think that people will resonate with. Because they've all got. I mean, Hagen, I'll have you on at some point. I can promise you that. But it's like Nate. You know, I was introduced to Nate through JSS Brooklyn. Shout out to him. And yeah, like I think Nate is a wonderful guy. I think you've got a great channel. And what you guys, I'm going to give you a little shout out here because, like, you guys taking this slot on the Sunday morning, I think it's fantastic. Like you've literally just slotted in and took over, no questions. Like you've done a brilliant job. So I just want to give you a round of applause for that. I think you guys are great.
Well,
Thank
we
you.
appreciate that. It helps that we held Brian LCS at gunpoint and took this slot.
Oh, of course, that helps. But you know, you just slid into the slot like it was seamless. So congratulations on that.
Yeah, well, thank you very much.
Yeah, that's very nice of you.
I like that you tried to turn it back on us there at the end there when the question was, how do you feel about this being all about you?
Yeah, that's what is it? Do you ever watch The Office with the US Office? And you got Andy Bernard is like
Hagen can't do it.
I was going to be quiet about that because like I have to run out of the room when cringe comedy happens. But yeah, I've seen parts of it. Yeah.
Yeah. So Andy Bernard in that, he's like, you know, I survive in the office by mirror personality, where he's basically just does exactly the same. Like if somebody compliments him, he'll compliment them back and stuff like that. But yeah, that's what I was kind of doing.
You don't get to be the interviewer on this one though. That's not the
No. My apologies. I think I think when I went on Cliff's channel and did like the Saturday show with him. Is it Cocktails and Comics or something? That one, yeah. I kind of like started asking him questions. I don't know if I can help it. I don't know if it's one of those things, but I can.
So you and your brother, you started this comic book channel. It ends up being your channel. And you are a comic book collector, but something else I know about you that I am interested in knowing more about, and you've made some videos on, is your video gaming. Like and are you? I know you're playing modern games too. Do you consider yourself? Are you more of a retro gamer? Is that just collection? What's your play balance like? What are you collecting in games, and what are you playing in games?
So I would probably say the balance is I probably play more modern, like as in like currently, but I collect Super Nintendo and Nintendo Entertainment System games like NES and SNES or SNES as you would call it. So I like collecting the box versions of them. So I've got up here like those are all Super Nintendo, and there's some Nintendo games there as well. And I love just hunting because the difference with, you know, comic books, I love hunting comics anyway, but with video games, you've got to consider like the cartridge, you've got the inserts like the manual and any adverts and stuff like that, and then you've got like the box itself, and trying to find all those things. You can either hopefully somebody's selling like a pristine condition one of them all together, but it's different to comics. I can actually put in like the manual. I can buy the manual from somewhere else and add it.
Right.
It's one of those things that I really enjoy. So
Very cool. So since you collect more things than just comics, one thing that I'm always fascinated by from is getting to talk to people that aren't from where I'm from.
Yeah.
Um, and so since you're plugged into different, like, maybe not communities, but areas of collecting, how do you see that being different where you are versus like the videos of like shows and hunting and stuff that you see here stateside? That was an awful way to ask that question, but I hope I got it across.
Yeah. See, what you're trying to say is the balance of like if you deviate from comic books, is that what you're trying to say? Like,
Well,
with
I'm
video
just
games?
wondering. I'm wondering how you see, like, how is European collecting different than American collecting?
Oh, right. Okay. So you guys have, I noticed this a lot. That you guys have a vast amount more of opportunities to collect comics or what, even video games, like because you have such a bigger area than we do. And back in the, like I collect '90s games because I'm a '90s kid, but like you guys would have had like probably, I don't know, 10 times the production of those things more than what we would have had. And I dare to say probably the same with comic books as well. Because we probably have, I don't know, UK comic shops are really like, they're really sparse. Like especially now. And I'm a big, believer in supporting small businesses. I love comic shops. Comic shops are my favorite place to go. Like I could go into, I hate going shopping for anything other than comic books. I'd gladly, spend hours in a comic shop, talk to random strangers than go any other shop in the world and be shopping for anything. If I'm going clothes shopping, I know what what I want, and I'm in and out like as quickly as possible because I don't want to be in there any longer than I have to be. But with a comic shop, I just get lost, and time just like it's almost like the Twilight Zone, like or like the Bermuda Triangle. You just lose time.
Yeah.
I was in one yesterday. Like I've started an initiative for trying to get people to go into comic shops. So what I'm going to be doing, it's called Stash and Dash, and basically I'm going to be visiting comic book shops up and down the UK, and I'm going to be leaving something behind for people to find, and they can have it as long as they purchase anything from the store. So if they find it, it will have like this is a free comic, but you just have to purchase something to be able to have it. So I'm going to start doing that. The first episode dropped yesterday at Untold Comics in Kidderminster, which is one of my favourite comic shops. So I'm hoping that gets people in the doors. It's the least I can do, with what small platform that I have.
That's a really cool idea.
Yeah, and in the video I said anybody, like whether if you're in the United States, you're in Canada, you're in anywhere else in the UK, like please, like I'm more than happy to for you guys to jump on board and do that, because I think that it's good for comic shops, because the last thing I want to lose is comic shops. I know, like we have every opportunity available, like online now at your disposal. You can buy comics at 3 a.m. in the morning if you need to, but I don't want us to lose local comic shops. I think they're really important.
I mean, do you think if there wasn't a comic shop and there's just online, I mean, like you said, you like to get lost in a comic shop. That experience you can't have online, right? Like you can't dig through a box online the same way.
Yeah, but it'd be naive of me to think that there's certain things I know I can't get from like a local comic shop, and I do enjoy the hunt online, like searching across various websites. Like one of my favorite websites is mycomicshop.com. I've been using that for like 12, 13, 14 years maybe, and I've never had an issue with it. And I think it's a fantastic website for back issues. But I'll also check out other businesses online as well, and even Whatnot. I know a lot of people don't like Whatnot, but sometimes you can get a really good bar. It's a good place to buy comics. It's probably not necessarily the best place to sell comics unless you've got a big following. But but certainly, I've hopped on plenty of Whatnot streams where there's only been like 10 people in the stream, and you're able to pick up, like I picked up like first Jubilee and Omega Red like for like £10 the other day for both books, pretty much delivered.
Yeah,
That's
I
great.
feel like on Whatnot, a lot of that is finding the right seller, because
Yes.
you're not gonna find that deal on like Comic Tom's stream,
No.
Like I'm sure he's a fantastic guy, but he just attracts so many people that
Oh yeah.
you're not gonna get away with it.
Yeah, Tom regularly has like, I want to say like 200 plus in there easy. So it's a lot more competitive in there, and but the thing is with Tom as well, he does do vintage on there, but he also does a lot of modern variants and stuff like that. So that's what, if you notice, the modern stuff on there goes for like crazy money, whereas so because that's what his general audience, I would say, are in there for, all the different variants and stuff. So yeah, he's really successful on that. Like, so hats off to him for that.
So do you, like you talked about us having more avenues over here. I mean, just yesterday I was at an antique mall that had, some stalls with comic books that I could leaf through. So do you have like, secondhand shops or, I don't know, not flea markets, but whatever you guys have over there, boot sales?
Yeah, so we do have that. There is other avenues, like you say. So we have these car boot sales, which are basically like general public can go to. It's like a random field, like in the middle of nowhere, and people pull up in their cars and sell out the back of their car boots. So their trunk, you would say. We call it. Yeah, we call our trunks boots.
Yeah.
Which, I don't really know why, to be honest, but that's what we do. So people will just pull out a table and sell out the back of their car, and it's probably actually really like, there's so many people have started doing content on it now, and it's like they're doing like the hunts and stuff like that.
Yeah.
But these people are probably like the worst people. Like they people literally pull up in their cars and they're banging on the windows of people pulling up in their cars, saying like, have you got any gold? Have you got any silver? Have you got any video games? Have you got any Pokemon cards? And these people, they're going through their stuff through their car. It's and like I get so like enraged because when we last moved house years ago, we did a car boot sale, like just to get rid of some stuff out of the house, because it was cheaper than buying like I don't know. Do you guys have skips?
Just like a dumpster.
Like a dumpster, yeah, like a big.
Yeah, okay.
We can pay to have like a skip or a dumpster dropped outside your house, and you can fill it full of rubbish, and then people come and collect it. So it's cheaper to sell your stuff at a car boot, and then just what we did was, when the stuff that didn't sell, we just went to the next stall and said, "Do you guys want this stuff to sell?" And they're like, "Yeah, sure, yeah." So we just left it all with them. But yeah, so that's one of the avenues that we've got. We've got so second-hand shops. We have, like, we call them charity shops. So like all the proceeds go to charity, and you might find comics in there, but you'll probably come across, they won't be bagged and boarded. There will be price stickers potentially on them, and they're just being, the condition won't be great, but you'll be lucky to find some good stuff in there. I have come across, like, we do have like antiques shops, and they have occasionally have comic books, which is good. But one of the best ever like finds I ever found was a record store. Like, the guy had like a massive record store, and somebody told me about that he had some comic books in, so I went and checked it out, and that was, I'm not joking, this guy basically went to buy a record collection, and this woman said, "Oh, do you want these comic books as well?" And he was like, "Oh, I don't really know much about comics." And she was like, "Oh, well, if you just take them off me, that'd be great." So he got them with the record collection, and there was like a Hulk 181 in there, Tomb of Dracula issue number 10, Fantastic Four issue number 52. Is that first Black Panther or like
I'm not. I know the book you're talking about.
yeah, like first Black Panther. There were so many incredible books, and I very rarely go to a comic shop and spend hundreds and hundreds of pounds. And when I went there, every visit I spent hundreds of pounds, and I built up such a great relationship with him. Was that every time I'd walk in there, he'd go and buy me a coffee from the coffee shop opposite, because he knew that I'd be spending a lot of money. And to be fair, it could have been, I mean, I don't know, I couldn't say the times that I was in there was very little people in there, so potentially like the income coming from the comics that I was buying was keeping him afloat for that week, or paying for rent or food or so. And I'd get a stack of comics, and then he'd be like, "Oh, how much is there?" And I'd be like, "Oh, I don't know." And then so we'd go through, work it out, and it'd come to, let's say it came to $500 or £500. He'd be like, "Yeah, you can have that for $250." And I'd be like, "Wow, this is my favorite place in the world." But
was he fairly like you said, Hulk 180, 181? Like, was he looking those up? Did he know what he had?
So yeah, so he had the guy who told me about the comic shop, or so the record store that had the comics in. He had helped out pricing some of the bigger stuff. So like I got like I got like an Iron Man issue number 1 from there, and I think I probably got it for probably like $100 maybe. So it was like really fairly priced, like really good price.
Yeah.
But that was with the discount. I think beforehand it probably would have been about $200 maybe. But but when you buy loads, it was discounting it massively. So that it didn't go, that's $100. It basically, that was what it was with a stack of books. So I'm just trying to work out exactly how much it was.
Right, like that was the bundle deal, so to speak.
Yeah. So I and it massively improved my collection. Like I got some amazing books from there. But in comparison to yourselves, like comic shops, probably, I don't know, you might be lucky if there's like 2 in a city, maybe 1. But any more than that is you're extremely blessed if you've got more than 2 or 1. Some towns don't even have them.
I mean, there are some decent ones in my drivable area, but I wouldn't say like comic shop anyway. Like strictly comic shop worth shopping at. I probably don't have more than 2 or 3 in a drivable distance. Comfortably drivable to go weekly or whatever. But there's so many secondhand ways. I'm sorry, what'd you say?
So what's a drivable distance to you though? Because that's different to me, isn't it? Because we're such a small island. Right.
I'm thinking like, probably at most like 45-ish minutes. Like I don't want to go more than an hour away from, because that's going to be an hour and a half round trip to get comics every week.
Yeah.
So that would be pushing it for me. I mean, my shop is probably a 15 to 20 minute drive, especially when I factor in work, because I'm already half the distance there or whatever.
That's good.
But I guess what I was trying to say is I feel like I get my best deals not at comic shops, but at either these secondhand ways of finding, strange places that also have comics. Like you said, you run into a record store, like a lot of antique places, they either think they price their books at $15 a book no matter what.
Yeah, they don't know anything what's in there. Yeah,
right. Or they've got it at $2 per book because they don't know what's in there. Like you don't know what you're going to get. But I feel like I get my best deals at like smallish shows. So every 3 to 4 months, there's a show around my area where, I mean, it's not the most dealers you've ever seen, but there's a lot of boxes to dig through, a lot of dollar bins and things like that. If the shops are smaller, what's the show ratio like for you? How many, like, what are conventions like? Are there smaller ones? How many do you get to like go to?
So we have like a couple spring to mind. So we have like they call them MCM Comic Cons, and they're like, so obviously they're called Comic Con.
Okay.
There's probably, you'll be lucky if there's 3 sellers that sell comics.
Oh,
the rest of it is the rest of it, and I'm talking, this is at like a massive venue, and the rest of it is all action figures, Funko Pops, memorabilia, just stuff like that. Stuff to do with gaming, and you know, I think the big draw is the guests, like so the media guests that they guest, so like the the actors, the sports personalities and stuff like that. But yeah, they're not really Comic Cons. But what I will say is probably my favourite one that I've been to is the London Film and Comic Con. So they have like a few more comic sellers, but they have like, if I had to compare it to something, it'd probably be your version of San Diego Comic Con in terms of the guests. Like for us, I'm talking, current people. Like when I went there, like Jason Momoa was promoting Aquaman, and it was like 2018 the last time I went or something. And people were going wild for him. So, or especially the ladies, it is.
Yeah. Have you seen him?
Yeah, but it's as well, like I remember when I was there, we because obviously Doctor Who is like a British program. I'm not a fan of Doctor Who, but they had like a few of the doctors there. So they had like the female doctor, I forgot her name now, but they had Jodie Whittaker or something like that, yeah. Something like that, Jodie something.
I don't know.
Yeah,
I didn't watch it that far, but I know the actress.
Yeah. So they had that. They had her. They had Matt Smith, and then they had like some of the older doctors, and then I just remember I was like in a queue waiting to see David Duchovny because I'm a massive X-Files fan, and they did like an announcement to say, and it was probably at like 2-3 o'clock in the afternoon. They did an announcement to say that David Tennant was, and you should have seen the reaction. Like David Tennant had come down for like 3 hours, and people were screaming and crying. Like
people lost their,
because he, over here he's like their favorite doctor or whatever. That in turn,
he's the favorite doctor
over here too. Yeah.
Oh, okay, yeah. There you
go. My son is a Doctor Who fan, and he's a Doctor Who fan because of David Tennant. He loves David Tennant's Doctor.
Yeah. I mean, he's the most memorable, and I mean, I haven't watched a lot of it, but like I have seen like some Christmas specials, and my wife's sister was like a big fan, and I saw them at Christmas time, and he no doubt is probably the best one.
Yeah, Justin is probably correct that people were screaming because David Tennant voices Scrooge McDuck in the new DuckTales. It's not. The Doctor's popular, but it was DuckTales that people were excited about.
And Cliff brought up a good point, which is that he's a beloved actor overall. Look at Jessica Jones. He did a fantastic job at Jessica Jones.
Purple Man, wasn't he? He was absolutely incredible. Like he was sinister. That was probably one of the first times I've seen him as a bad guy. I don't know if you guys have ever watched that show Broadchurch.
I have, and it's excellent. Wow. Holy cow!
That I mean, it's messed up, but he and Olivia Colman are absolutely fantastic in that show.
Yeah, that show was messed up, but but it was good.
He is so good at playing like a very charismatic, very like rushing in to save the day person. That to see him play someone as just absolutely irredeemable as Purple Man was really interesting and deeply unsettling.
Yeah, he's brilliant. And to be fair, if I was an actor, I'd probably be more interested in doing like roles like that where you get to kind of like have a bit of fun and go a bit nuts. Just because maybe sometimes playing the hero can be a bit boring. Maybe, I don't know. So.
He, I wonder too. Like playing the Doctor, he was the hero for so long. Looking for things that are different probably did appeal to him.
Yeah. I mean, he's done phenomenal, really, because like playing that sort of role, you kind of get typecast, don't you? Who thought I would have been talking about David Tennant and Doctor?
Well, I mean, just to keep this 180 going, Steve Driscoll says there's a movie with Andy Griffith playing the bad guy. I don't believe that exists. Like from the Andy Griffith Show and Matlock.
Does he
If you
still
give me-
whistle?
If you give me the title, I'll go watch that movie, Stevie D.
Check it
That's
out.
weird. I have another question I want to ask, and then
Yeah.
we'll maybe let you show some books. But I know you're a father. How has like collecting comics, or for me, it's video games. So I guess I want to go back to your video games. How has the way that you approach that hobby changed? Like, we always talk about chasing the dragon, right? Like we're
Yeah.
always like chasing that nostalgia in the past. And when we do these things now, collecting comics or playing video games, we're trying to get that same thing, but we're not quite there. Is there a difference for you right now in those hobbies from the way it used to be, like noticeably?
Yeah, I think I hate to say this, but you chase that nostalgia, and it's kind of short lived. Like you get something, and then you have it, and you're like, oh yes, I can't believe it. You're like you buy it, you wait for it to come, or you find it, or whatever, and then you bring it back, or you get it shipped to you, and you're like, yes, you can't wait for it to come, and you get it, and you're like, oh, that's great. Now let's move on to the next thing. That's what kind of sucks, really. Especially for me, it's like almost like a dopamine hit, I'm guessing. Like you get it, and then you kind of like, yeah, I've got that now. I can move on to whatever the next thing I wanted. But I kind of want to use this segment to talk about something that you're going to think this is so silly, but when I was younger, when I was a kid, I remember getting a Spider-Man cup, like a mug, at Easter. So like there was an Easter egg in the mug, like a red egg, and then I got this cup or mug or whatever you guys would call it. And I remember one time we got it out of the cupboard to make me a drink, and there was a spider in it. And I was like, right, I'm never drinking from that ever again. Never drinking from it. My mum was like, no, I'll wash it. It'll be fine. And every time someone tried to give me like a drink out that cup, I would never drink from it again. Even though I absolutely adored the thing, because it had I'm not just saying it was a little spider, but like it was huge. It was absolutely huge. And I'm like, you could see the hairs on its legs. It was that big. So I have that vision in my head, and I've told this story to so many like friends and family, and so eventually my mom threw it away. And a few weeks ago, I was on eBay doing my casual search for Spider-Man, and I came across the mug, and I was like, I saw it, and I was like, I was immediately just transported back to 5-year-old James. Remembering that mug, and like that thing could have been £50, £100. I probably would have bought it just for that. And it's came, and it's so diddy. It's tiny. Like I wouldn't actually drink from it, but this is it. This is the exact same one, and it's I don't know if you can see. Try and get me out there. It's like from 1989. But this is exactly how I remember it. I remember that Spidey swinging through the city and having his face there. And so like that has brought me so much joy just having that back. This has probably brought me a lot more joy than buying a comic book, like certain books, but
sure,
like just having that there. I've been meaning to like talk about this for ages, and I just wanted to share that story with you.
I'm just really happy that you get to start a second saga of not drinking out of that cup, because you just like it's small and dinky and you're not going to drink out of it. But
it's time. I bought. To be honest, I forgot how small it was. It's because to me, when I was 5 or 6 or however old I was, it just felt so much bigger.
Yeah,
right.
But it's come. Like I mean, I could have like a black coffee in it, because to be fair, I don't. I drink hot drinks, but I don't end up drinking the whole thing. So it's probably a perfect size to have like a quick cup of coffee or something, maybe. But yeah, I'm just super glad I've got it.
I can't tell you, like that story you just told is so relatable. like walking around a convention floor or something, especially with action figures. And I
Yeah.
will see a toy that I had as a kid, and you just have that moment of being transported back. I guess I find, sadly, especially with video games, I just have so much less time to play than I used to. Like it,
Mm.
and do you like, I guilt myself about it a lot, to be honest. I'm like, oh God, if I sit here and play this game for an hour, that's X, Y, and Z that I could have done otherwise. That,
Yeah.
probably my time, I should have been more responsible. I should spend that time with my son. I should spend that time fixing that thing that has been broken for the last year.
Yeah.
And so I talk myself out of having fun sometimes, and that's where collecting is been a lot different as an adult for me. Is that there are times I feel guilty about the time that it takes.
Yeah.
Yeah. Do you ever find that, especially
Yeah, well-
like with gaming?
Yeah, so regularly, like, a new game will come out, and my friends and will be like, oh, I'm at this part. Have you got to this part? And I'm like, no, like I've only played like 2 hours, and
Right.
they've played like 15, 20 hours.
Yeah.
So it is hard to get in it. I kind of end up having to play it like after 10 p.m. like when Gemma goes to bed, and then, like, I'm practically falling asleep playing it. Like,
Right. Yeah.
so it's hard as a parent. But like the last game I've been playing is that Expedition 33, which is such a great game. It's unbelievable. And I was
write that down.
Oh, it's
Yeah,
so
sorry.
good.
Oh,
It's
you
so
got
good.
yeah, it's brilliant.
I couldn't even tell you how many hours I have in it. But it's I don't think I'm very far. Like you said, I mean, I play a half hour to an hour at a time,
Yeah.
and I just haven't gotten very far. But yeah, that game has been awesome, and that's the game that is like in my head when I think, because it's a game. So many take, you want to sit there for 2 hours to make some progress on the game.
Oh yeah,
But
you
it's
need
like,
to, yeah.
do I have the 2 hours to spend by myself? Not doing other things, not doing things I should do. So trying to find that balance has been hard for me lately.
Yeah.
I know exactly what you guys are talking about. I have a dog, so it's the same.
Inconsiderate dog who needs to be walked and let out to get to the toilet and feed.
Yeah, I know. What a jerk.
I know. It's a great point. Hi, Adam.
Oh, good morning. Well, I know you brought some books, or, whatever, you bought things to share. And so if you want to give us a peek into your collection.
Yeah. So what do you want to, I'll give you a choice. I can bust out some video game comics or video games, or I've got some great Todd McFarlane stuff. It's up to you.
I mean,
It's your world, dude. We're just living.
yeah,
in it.
you
Okay.
show us what. Yeah, show us some stuff.
I don't like the pressure of this. So
Yeah. How's it feel?
how does it feel? Yeah.
Now you know
I'm
what
trying
you've
to
been
think
doing to people.
What does the audience want? Do they want video games or comics or both?
Chat. What do you want to see? There's 30 of you in here. Video games, comics.
Right, I'll start off with this. But we'll make it video games, video game comic related. So we got Sonic the Hedgehog.
Oh, K Munin.
Yeah, K Munin. Here you go. Is that a?
That's a 9.8.
Yeah. So this is trying to, my mic's in the way. Trying to stop the glare. So this is not like the actual official comic. This is like a supplement that was put in certain DC comics. So one that I've got this raw in is I want to say Justice League of Europe issue number 33 with like Lobo on the cover.
Yes, it's the most random issue.
Yes,
Yeah.
like they just decided to dump this in.
Right.
But what's great, what normally you can see on the top is it says, I think it says like advertisement or something, or promotional copy. But that's it's been cut off. It's not like intentional or anything like that. It's just the way it's printed. Because it's got, normally like the Sonic thing comes down to about here, like the end of the image. But obviously it's just over. But yeah, so this is So it says on here it's distributed as Sega promotional and insert in DC Comics from December 1991. So I think that's pretty cool. And to get it in a 9.8, because you have to rip it out of the, the staples, because it's like right in the middle of the book. So
Is it just newspaper? Or does it actually have like a glossy cover?
no, it's like it's literally newsprint.
That's what I thought.
I mean, it's not.
Wild.
I mean, it's very like dark. It's not like it's not glossy at all.
Right.
But I thought that's cool. It's not expensive either, because obviously there's hundreds of these things out there. But to get it in a 9.8 is pretty good.
What is the actual name of that? Like, what does it say? Sonic the Hedgehog promotional supplement #1?
Yeah, from Sega. Yeah, that's literally what it is. It's the same issue, but it's just obviously in newsprint.
Yeah, I've never seen that before. And I can't imagine. You said that you had to rip that out of the book that it came in.
Yeah, so it's issue number. I'm sure it's issue number 33 of the Justice League of Europe. It's got Lobo on the cover. It's like a brown cover, black cover. Nate, Nate's gonna pull it out now.
Yeah, Nate has it for sure.
Yeah. So whenever I see those things in the wild, they're only like $1 book. I'll pick it up if I see it.
Yeah,
just because of the advert.
Really cool.
Yeah, it's pretty cool. Is Nate good? There we go. There you go. Make yourself big, Nate.
So it's that issue.
Yeah, that's it. Oh,
and I don't know if mine still has it in there or not.
That'll be interesting. But the first appearance of Sonic goes for crazy money. To be fair.
Yeah. Oh. I do have.
There we go.
So
yours is cut off at the top as well.
Yeah.
So does it say? Is it advertisement? Is it, or is it say promotional? You can just about make the bottom.
Oh, yeah. You can barely see it.
Advertisement. That's it. Yeah. Yeah. Yours looks a lot more colourful than mine does.
Yep.
The front.
It's in there.
There you go. That's a bit of that's interesting. So if you want that, you can. If you want to read it, it's definitely in an affordable book.
Yeah, you're not going to pay much for this.
That's what I mean. You regularly see them in dollar bins. Yeah.
Yeah, people get this book so that they can tear the Sonic out.
Yeah. Yeah, I think in one shop I saw like multiple copies because they're just that type of book. But
right.
Right. The next book then. So this is Blip issue number 1.
Awesome. Mm-hmm.
So this is the first appearance of Super Mario and Donkey Kong in comic books. I mean, I've never seen what's inside this book, so I wouldn't be able to comment on it. But I mean, is that like a famous actor or something like that? Is it? I don't know who he is. He's definitely from like the 70s or something.
Yeah.
Or the early 80s.
Yeah, he's got big early 80s vibes for sure.
Yeah, he has, yeah. But I thought this was a bit of cool comic book history to have. But it's a Marvel book, which is a bit strange to be fair, because I know it says new from Marvel Comics, but they've not got the logo or anything anywhere.
Yeah, it doesn't look like they're trying to Marvel it, does it?
No, definitely doesn't. But yeah, so it just says first appearance of Mario and Donkey Kong. But yeah, that's that I bought this a few years ago. It's probably a lot less than what I bought it for back then now. But that's the way the world.
Is that one that's dropped?
Yeah. But it doesn't. To be fair, it really, really doesn't bother me because I'll pay to have it in the collection. That's like I'm not looking to sell it next week or anything like that. My collection will literally, at some point with my kids, I will say, let's sell Dad's books and see what we get, and then they will get the money. They don't know that yet, but if they help me, they can. I just don't want to like anything happen to me, and like, they don't know what to do with it, all this stuff, and they just end up giving it away or getting nothing for it.
Right.
I prefer that they benefit from my stupidity and spending.
Yeah, there are so many examples of like family members that get the collection and sell it for pennies
Yeah.
That it's good for the person that buys it, but it's
Right.
kind of sad, like it's
Yeah.
just unfortunate.
Do you think they're like? I mean, I don't know if this is a thing, but wouldn't it be like a great like company where people who have inherited collectibles or collections from people, wouldn't it be great if there was a company that you could approach and they would handle the sale of it,
Yeah,
but
like
obviously
this
take a commission?
estate collectible consulting
Yeah,
stuff.
yeah. You could open a consultancy and be basically like, this is worth X or X, Y, Z or whatever, but we're going to take 15%.
See, I would love to start something like that, but there is too much footage of me losing my mind over worthless books that I've lost all credibility.
Yeah. Yeah, it's I don't know, just something that would help people out instead of just going, getting ripped off by people. The next book, in fact, I'll show off a video game. So one of my favorite video games of all time is Chrono Trigger. So this is a boxed NSTC. Is that what you guys have? Is that
NST. So there's NSTC and there's PAL, right?
Yeah, so we're PAL. We're
okay.
Europe is
And
PAL.
yeah, we are.
Yes, this is what. So this is So on my PAL Super Nintendo, I wouldn't be able to play this game. So I've got like a I've got like a retro console that can play both. It can play Japanese, it can play US, and it can play Europe games. So I can play this game. The battery still works inside, so the save still works, which is brilliant. This is one of the best games of all time, along with Expedition 33. I'd probably say this is better.
The soundtrack for Chrono Trigger is like amazing, especially for the time. The music is just great.
Which so what I find crazy is like Super Nintendo had some of like the best role playing games on them, RPGs, and like this is like the cream of the crop. Like I remember playing this like when I was a teenager. Obviously, I can like I didn't have it as a physical game. I emulated it like when I was like getting to kind of know computers. And I just remember the whole summer just playing this game, and I'm just like taken back by how beautiful it looked, how great the story was, the music, and like the actual game itself was fantastic. It's one of my favorites of all time.
I think that games like that are going to age better than, like, let's say, not that it's a bad game, but just as an example, Last of Us. Because Last of Us strives for looking as realistic as possible, and no matter how good it looks now, in 30 years, it's not going to look like that,
Oh yeah,
But
100%.
that game and games like that, like, lean into the stylization and what they can do, and it makes it sort of like its own thing. So even though it's not high fidelity, it's high fidelity to what it's trying to do.
Yeah, it's fantastic, and to get like a boxed copy of this with the instruction manual inside, and that I'm not gonna lie, I'm missing like there's 2 posters inside, and it's only got 1, so it's not fully complete. But like the poster is like $100, so if you got a complete, great, pristine condition version of this, it'd be worth thousands. But I picked this up for a couple of hundred, which was great. So that's that.
Do you find the your region is PAL for the cartridges? Are the American versions more collectible than the EU versions?
No, so I mean, obviously this is more collectible because it was only available in Japan and the US, but there's like PAL versions. PAL versions, I think, there was much less produced. So in this country, we like if there's US version or the UK version, the UK version goes for more.
Okay.
But yeah, so we have like a company called it's called CEX. So like literally that's its name. So I heard a funny joke yesterday when someone said, "Oh, what's the name of the shop?" CEX. So okay, how do you say it? CEX. I mean, the youngsters call it like Kex or something like that. I don't know.
Yeah.
But it's
They
basically
don't know how to read.
Yeah, exactly. You would know that, Nate. You would know that 100%. But it's it's essentially like it's a electronics game store where you can trade in video games. So you can trade in old games,
Mhm.
and DVDs and Blu-rays and whatever, and you get like a trade value or a cash value. But what every reseller does now is I said about that car boot sale, people are like asking if they've got Pokemon video games and stuff like that. They use that as like a reference for if CEX give you X amount of cash and that thing is worth, so say if you can buy this game for $20, but CEX will give you $30 cash, you've got made a profit of $10 at least, if you want to go down that avenue. So that they're constantly just checking that app. So yeah, it's very interesting, but the PAL versions definitely more
apps have
more.
ruined thrifting. Like every time I'm at an antique store or a thrift shop, I just see so many people with their phones out looking stuff up, taking pictures of things.
Yeah, and that's kind of what. So I gotta say, I did leave a comment on one of these people's videos the other day where he was he's literally going over somebody's store and he was literally just scanning like taking photos of everything to work out the price. And I'm thinking, well, like if I go into a comic book shop or a video game store, I kind of know in the back of my head how much things are worth, or like if something is desirable. So like these people are just like kind of like cheating almost.
Yeah.
Like it's not their actual knowledge. It's like just using an app. And I kind of, I'm not bashing the Key Collector app, but like I collected comics for like nearly 20 years before my brother got involved. But like overnight, he just became using Key Collector, he became a comic book expert. Like, whereas in myself, it's like, I'm not saying I've got photographic memory, but if I see something I've seen it before, I have almost instant recall. Like I know I've seen that before, and I know somebody spoke about it, and it's one of those things.
That's what I will do. Is like I will at a show I will rely on like that neuron firing of like I've seen that cover before. That's something, and then I look it up from there. But like to go to somebody's booth and use like that AI like camera thing to be like analyze this, tell me what it is, see if I can make any money off of it. That feels soulless to me.
Yeah, 100%. I just find it really like the annoying thing as well is like I don't know how you can, because we've all we've all done this. We've all gone into a comic book shop and we found a comic for a bargain, which is less money than what the market value is. But like them literally scanning that thing in your face and then going, yeah, I'm going to have this, is them essentially saying to you, this is worth a lot more money. I'm buying this to make money. You're a fool. Like, it's insulting, I find. But sorry for sticking my finger up there. I didn't want to offend anybody. But that's essentially what it is. I'm sure lots worse has happened. Somebody last week said about they were into bestiality or something, didn't they? Last week, wasn't it?
Probably.
I'm sure it happened.
Was it Dan? I watched that show. It's a great show.
Yes, it was Dan. Dan's a big fan of furry things. I don't know if he is or not. I'm just saying words.
We could just start that. We could just start the rumor.
Yeah. Sorry.
He would lean into it.
Yeah. And I think I might have misheard, actually. I don't know what. But no, my next thing I'm going to show off is, so I love Todd McFarlane, and this book is it's the Complete Spider-Man issue number 1 from 1990, and it's This bad boy, if you obviously notice, it's not the same color cover
Right.
as that. So this was only available in the UK, I believe, and it was available in a Commodore 64 video game, and the box was a lot smaller than this comic. So the comics were folded to fit into the as a free promotional thing inside the game. But this copy here was never folded. So it's this, if my grading eyes correct, this is a 9.6 minimum.
Wow.
But so it's a free promotional supplement that came with the game, but it's absolutely stunning.
How did you get one that had not been folded? What's the trajectory of that?
So this, as the story goes, one of these resellers, they put it up on for eBay, and it was up for a decent price. It was expensive, but I asked them how they came across it, because I said normally these books are folded, because obviously my suspicion was a bit like, why isn't this book got a massive crease in the middle? But it's because they bought a load of stock off an ex-computer store, and the guy had a bunch of promotional stuff for games, and this was in the box. So the running theory of it is that he was basically given copies to give out at store. So these ones weren't folded because he had he'd already sold. This was his last copy that he had, and he said that he'd sold around 10 of them prior, and all of them bar this one, I think, were all sent to the US. So they were bought off eBay but sent to the US. So yeah, and he said they all pretty much got like 9.6, 9.8s. So I was really happy to get this.
That's awesome.
But if truth be known, I've got Todd McFarlane's signature like 3 times, but this book just here, I want a full signature. That's like my dying wish, if I could get that. Whenever he next does a CGC signing or whoever, that would be great to get that submitted. I want to say,
yeah,
surely he'll do one eventually.
Yeah, I've heard rumors that he might be doing one soon, but I don't know I don't know the validity of that information. But yeah. So in fact, here's a couple of the signatures. So there's Marvel Age issue number 90 from 1990, and that's a fantastic Todd McFarlane cover, and I've got his signature just there. And it's like in a green. But
yeah, that's striking.
It really shows up. It's awesome.
Yeah, and it's obviously a newsstand as well, but the only copy that I've seen better than this is shout out to Manu, the 9.9 newsstand. He's got this in the 9.8 of a newsstand. So, but yeah, one of my favorite covers. Like every time, like I don't know if you can see up there, there's like an LP up there that with that image on it. Like if I see this image on anything, I'll buy it. Like, in fact, just bear with me. So, I keep my graded cards in here, like a little.
Zoom in. I can't read the code.
I'll be honest, it's not got a code set at the moment. But,
that's a terrible system.
You heard it here first.
I've just told the practically the world on the internet, but I'm just let me just somewhere in here.
I think he's going to show us his Pokemons.
So I've got on that the image on that as well.
Wow,
this is I was trying to focus, but it's Marvel Comics Todd McFarlane series, so from 1990, but it looks absolutely glorious. It's in a 9, and it's like that's the back of it. And then I've got it on this as well, which is like a prism. That's a 9 as well.
Yeah.
Oh, man.
If you
That
can
just
see it.
makes me think of that wizard cover that
Oh,
Todd
yeah,
McFarlane did.
Yep. I've got that somewhere as well.
Purple
Well,
robe
actually,
and
to
the
be fair, most of my Raw comics, because we're moving house, they're in storage. But I got my graded books back for Rob Fatstack's Only Slabs a few weeks back, so I'm still got them here. To be fair, but yeah, it's one of my favorite covers. I've also got Spawn issue number 230 signed by Todd as well. It's a 9.6 with a custom label. That's a great full signature as well.
Yeah.
Toad McFarlane, as they would say.
I was about to say it kind of looks like Tord, and if you didn't say anything about it, I wasn't gonna like crap on your books, but I was like, does that say Tord McFarlane?
It does, yeah. And then I've got Spider-Man 316 signed as well. Hey, that's Tord M. McFarlane.
Yeah, Tord M. Farlane.
Yeah, that's it. But yeah, that's 9.6. But those are some of my favorite books. But obviously, I've got so much Todd stuff here. So like, obviously, Spawn 1 and a 9.8. That's not signed. It's probably one of the only copies not signed.
It makes it more rare.
Yeah,
it really does.
The Amazing Spider-Man 300 homage 227 Spawn 98. We got the Spawn 300. This is the silver foil second printing. That's in a 9.6. And then we've got Spawn 221, which is the Amazing Fantasy 15 homage. That's by Todd as well, which is great cover. 9.8. So I'm a bit of a Todd McFarlane geek.
Very cool, man.
In fact, one of my ultimate aims on YouTube is to be able to interview him, but I don't know if that's ever going to happen. But I'm going to try. I'm going to try it.
Yeah, definitely.
I'm going to try and this is a bit of an exclusive, but I'm going to try and start interviewing some people in the comic industry, like artists, writers, just like as a switch up to. Won't take over like the Let's Talk series or anything like that. It's just like the Let's Talk thing. I try to do every 2 weeks now, because I'm simply just going to run out of people to talk to. I feel, and yeah, so I'm going to start trying to speak to creators, which I think I might be having my first one on before the end of the month. Who's pretty cool, pretty hot right now.
That's awesome, man! Congratulations.
Cool. Yeah, so I'm looking forward to that.
Cool.
What else do you want me to show you?
What else did you bring that you want to talk about?
Wow.
I've loved seeing the video game stuff, like the comics and the games. It's, this is what I like to see, what what you don't necessarily always show or talk about.
Yeah, is there anything in front of you where you're like, I hope that they ask about that because I want to show it. Oh, that's cool.
That's really cool.
In fact, let me get it. So Super Mario Brothers 3, this is like the same cover for the game.
Right.
This is like a CBCS slab, but it's based on the actual video game itself as well. But this is, I just think it's a cool cover. I think the artwork on Mario looks great.
Mm-hmm.
I've got the box version up there. You can just see it in the yellow strip there, just over there.
I think 3 is my favorite of the original trilogy.
I genuinely don't think Super Mario Brothers is one of my favorites. Like, it's probably the only one I've completed.
Yeah.
But it took me 30 years to complete it. And I need, to be fair, I did need the because on the Nintendo Switch you could play the old games now, and you can like if you die you can go back in time, like you can rewind almost. So I was like, I'll just do that.
Yeah, there's no shame in it.
There's no shame. There's no shame. I'm not joking. Kids, like, games these days are a lot easier than they were when we were kids. Like, if you ran out of lives, that was it. There was no save point.
Right.
It was brutal, absolutely brutal. And like, you remember when? Did you guys ever play Sonic?
Oh hell
and
yeah!
you were running out of time, and it made that like that the timer was running out, and it
Oh,
made that stressful sound.
oh my
Like
god! Right? The do do
there's
do do
so
do
many
do do
games
do.
that.
Oh
Oh,
yeah. They knew how to get on your they knew how to get your blood pressure up.
well, yeah, that's what I mean. They were causing. I don't think Sega knew they were causing anxiety to like 10-year-olds,
Oh, they knew.
across the globe. But I've also got this one as well, which is like a Super Mario Brothers Special Edition 9.4. What's really interesting about this is, and I never really noticed it, is that have you seen these ones with like, I'm trying to get my face out of it, but there's like a tick next to the 9.4.
Oh.
I don't know. I haven't seen that before.
No, it basically, I found out it basically means that it actually presents better. No, I don't know if it presents better than a 9.4 or it should be higher, but it I don't know. It's something to basically say it's better than it's not. If that sounds right, like I don't quite understand it. I
That's
think
an odd thing for a grading company to do, where they're
Right.
like, "This is the number, but don't trust the number."
Yeah. I mean, we
Yeah.
put this number on it, but that's not what we meant.
no, I think it's like it's a 9.4 plus. That's what it's basically saying, that it should be higher, but it's not a 9.6, but it's better than a 9.4, which is basically, I don't know what they're trying to say. There's not a 9.5.
Yeah. It's a B plus. It's not just a B. It's a B plus.
And then there's everyone's favorite adventurer in the 90s, which is Lara Croft with Tomb Raider. So this is the first appearance of Tomb Raider in a 9.4. It's first in a Tomb Raider and Witchblade comic by, is it Image? Or is it Image, or it's like a crossover between Image and Top Cow? But this is like the variant. I prefer this cover to the original one, to be honest. I think it's Michael Turner art as well, which is pretty cool. So he's a pretty cool dude. But yeah, that's just some of my video game ones. It's not obviously this is the big. This is one of the most difficult games I've ever played in my lifetime. Again, stress inducing, but this the artwork by Bill Sienkiewicz is just incredible on this. And that, like I said this so many times before, but like this art featured in so many comics in the 90s. Like it was like the back cover or an advert. And you know, I've got the game as well graded. But yeah, it's pretty cool. This is
cool.
That game was, the advertisement was on the back of every comic book for like 4 months.
Yeah.
And so there's a stretch of time where you could not escape that.
Yeah. It's like I can see a lot of people in the beginning just like, I can't do this game, and put it down before even the game starts to get going, if you know what I mean. As Cliff said, the check mark indicates that the comic looks better than the numerical grade suggests in terms of eye appeal, but something unseen, like what? That's terrible. That's terrible from CBCS. It's basically saying this is not a 9.4, isn't it?
Well, it's saying that it should be like a 9.6 or a 9.8, but there's something unseen that makes it look like a 9, or there's something unseen that makes it a 9.4.
Yeah.
But I still think that's equally terrible. Like, don't even put the friggin' check mark there. Just say it's a 9.4 and then put the grader's notes. Like,
yeah,
I don't understand that.
I imagine it's probably one way to separate themselves from CGC. But Truck Dad 4547 has said, how rare is the Maximum Carnage comic? It's so this again was a promotional book that was sent out to video game stores or to people who pre-ordered the game, and they were Manu, the 9.9 newsstand. He collects the envelopes that they were sent in. They were sent in this just an envelope only.
Wow.
Because I imagine it's like a complete thing, isn't it? If you get the comic in the envelope, but it's like a Marvel envelope with a claim. And it's just shipped out in an envelope. So these things, in the mail system and just in an envelope, are pretty hard to come by in such great condition. This particular copy was Manu, the 9.9 newsstands. It was his first copy he ever sent off to CGC. And there's actually like a 25-minute video on YouTube of this book being pressed. So
Very cool.
9.4, the comic has a great personality.
That's a great line.
Yeah.
That's a great line, Adam.
Yeah. But so it's pretty rare, and it's pretty hard to come by in decent condition.
I really enjoy promotional comics in general. I know Hagen does too. Just like the weird things, the Nestle Quick Bunny, or President's Council on Drugs or whatever. But I didn't realize that there were so many video game promotional comics. Do you have any of the not the ongoing series Atari Force, but they made little comics that went in like old Atari 2600 cases or something?
No. So I never I don't think I've ever played an Atari. So I think it was a little bit
kind
before.
of okay.
Yeah.
It's pretty rough.
So the Nintendo Entertainment System was my first ever console. I've still got it boxed somewhere. I don't know where it is. But yeah, it's so that was my first introduction into video gaming. So I've never really played anything before that. So I didn't even know there was comics for Atari. So
that's the only one I know of. I didn't know if maybe you were going down that rabbit hole of just any kind of video game comic book. But you're sticking smartly just with your era of the two NESs.
Yeah, I think that's it.
Can go off the rails pretty quick.
I agree. I was in a comic shop yesterday and I was talking about this, that there's they were saying about like there's generations of collectors, so like these generations will be dying off, so nobody will be interested in certain toys because the toys that have got value now won't be the same ones that our kids grew up playing with. Like it's only specific generations, like I'm not saying that Paw Patrol is going to be a collectible thing, but as an example, we have no attachment to that, so we're not in if we got a Paw Patrol toy, we'd be like, what's this? It means nothing to me. But whereas in my son or daughter, like in 20 years time or 15 years time, when they're starting to earn adult money, and they're like, they see it out and about, and like, oh, that reminds me of my childhood, I'm going to buy that. And then, do you know what I mean? It's like, it's almost like at work, like I'm a good 10 years older than some of the 25-year-olds. So they all like don't understand some stuff that I talk about. And that used to be me when I first started, and like references, but now they absolutely love the Shrek films. Like, they can quote them. Like, they're all like super excited about the new Shrek film coming out. Whereas I'm like, I mean, yeah, like I'll watch it with my kids, but I'm not super excited about it. Like, it's crazy, like the difference. I'm just waffling on that. I'm sorry.
I wonder, like, seeing my son growing up, what the collecting and nostalgia is built on physicality. And, so much of what he interacts with is purely digital. So,
oh yeah.
I mean, like you said, Paw Patrol toys, but I'm trying to think of like, I mean, one day is he going to come across a flea market stall full of fidget spinners and those little poppy things and be like, oh, I remember wasting my time with this. Whee! Like, there's just not. It's not the same. I mean, there were action figure lines, there were video game consoles, and now everything is, for the most part, streamed in. I guess Legos is still the big
Legos,
thing that that my son is into. But I do wonder what collecting is going to look like in 20 years for these kids right now, where we are doing this big digital transition.
Some of it might turn into like archiving, because I know that I've bought a solid state drive just so I can save things that I like onto it and not clog up the rest of like my computer.
Yeah.
But even if it stays with physical stuff, because I think that there is an inherent human desire to have stuff, like to collect things. I do think that the value that is placed on an item is completely and totally dependent on the nostalgia that you feel for it when you're collecting.
Yeah.
So like, yeah, what you said, the things that like you guys, your kids, our parents like care about, completely and totally different.
Yeah.
Somebody said earlier that their dad collected like Roy Rogers stuff, and I have zero attachment to Roy Rogers
Yep.
whatsoever.
Yep. I agree. Terry Deadman has put, you mentioned Shrek, James, but the book is 35 years old. I didn't even know there was a book.
I think I was aware it was a book.
I didn't even know.
Yeah. I mean, I don't think I think most of the movie is still just Mike Myers.
Oh yeah. Yeah.
I think it's very broad strokes from the book, however it is. I'm not gonna let him leave. We won't. So you know what? This is a good time to bring that around. Comic Book Community Awards, and I hear you are the first winner of one of those.
Yes.
And so the comic book community is, that's ramping up again. It is a very, I think, connected and supportive group of people. It's pretty wild, and it doesn't seem like it's the norm at all when it comes to YouTube or online communities. Like, I don't see this kind of like networking in video games or really any of the other niches that I watch. Like, I don't know. It's pretty unique. So, James, what does the comic book community mean to you?
That is a great question. So July 4th, I was on YouTube and there was it was silent. Like, YouTube was like, there was nobody doing live shows. There was no content released. And it kind of like really hit home how much there's not very many UK comic book content creators. There's Terry, there's Deadman, the comic cover show, there's Triple G Comics, there's Dr. Van Hoot, and there's a couple of other ones. But there's not very many UK ones, and it kind of like hit home how the American influence in the comic book community and is very much the largest part of it. And yeah, to me, it's like it's exactly what it says. It's a community, and in a community, you're going to get people that you don't get on with, or you get on really well with, or people that you become either friendly with or just aware of. And for me, I just want to be a person who comes into the, and I want to say that I am this person, but I want to be a person that comes in the community and people are like, you know what, he's a nice person. Like, and I don't want people to feel as if like anyone's better than anybody else, or we're all here to come and find like people who have the same interests with each other. They're here for the same purpose, but that purpose is good. It's not like a bad purpose. I can give a great example of like growing up. Like, I didn't know anybody else collecting comic books, not a single person. Mm-hmm. And you know what the crazy thing was? When I started doing YouTube, the kid that I sat next to every day in science, he saw me on YouTube and was like, oh my God, like, I've collected comics for years and years. I had no idea, but we didn't talk about it because it wasn't cool. Right. Now we have a place where we can talk about comics and there's no judgment from anybody. Like, I always used to think that the star of the show is the comic book. Like, it's not the star of the show is the community who watch you, who engage with your content, who like the personality behind the camera, who they come for. So Nate or Hagen, you could be talking about that Justice League of Europe 33, or you could be talking about an amazing Fantasy 15, your audience will get the same response from it. They come here to listen to you guys, and they value your opinion. And I think that's what ultimately I think that people deserve, is that they get a little bit of respect and they come here to get away from the pressures of, I don't want to say real life, because a lot of people, this community is their friendships. So, but like outside influences, they come here to release some pressure, have some fun, forget about mortgages being paid, forget about kids, and forget about all sorts, and they come here just to relax, enjoy themselves. And I just want everyone to feel that, and they're welcome. That's what I feel. And I feel with the Comic Book Community Awards, I know there was a bit of a backlash last year, but that the thing that shouldn't be taken away from all that is that the effort that people put into doing content for people, because, you know, I know there's monetization and stuff like that, but this is not everybody's job. So we're not, you know, it's not, you know, like at work, you can get an award and in essence, people can just say, well, you were just doing your job. This is not a job for most people. We're here because this is our passion. This is our love for doing stuff like this. And I think that people need to be recognized for the hard work that they do, because, and you guys will know this certainly, a hell of a lot of your personal time gets put into doing this. And pretty much most of your living thoughts are thinking about, oh, I should do this, or this would be great, or, you know, and I think people should get appreciated for what they do. So I hope people go and nominate your favorite content creators in the comic book community and your favorite moderators and people in the community, because you guys deserve it, because you're the best. So that's how I feel. A bit sentimental, but
well, nominations are open at the cbcawards.com, I believe. So people should go nominate their favorite channels for that. We really appreciate you finding the time to come and hang out with us, and making the times line up. It was really fun to chat with you today. You brought you have some really cool stuff too. You know, I mean, you spend so much time focusing on other people. It was fun to see you focus more on yourself. And so you just had a video drop yesterday, you said.
Yeah.
Anything else going on coming up soon?
So not for funny enough, not really for my own channel, but this week I'm going to be recording a video with Mighty Comics and Collectibles, Lawrence. He's just started a new podcast, so funny enough, I'm going on to talk about video games about that as well. So it's been nice to, like today, and obviously at some point this week I'll be not doing an interview, but I kind of really like shot myself in the foot last week, where I did like 2 interviews in like 3 days. Like like, especially with the time distance for me, it's exhausting with having kids. That's why I try to do it every 2 weeks. But like sometimes plans change and people come back and say, you know what, I can't do that date now. Is there any chance we can do like an earlier date? And I don't want to mess anybody around, and I try to accommodate as best as I can for people, even if it puts myself out. So I'm hoping my next interview will be a certain a certain artist and creator in the comic book world, which I think will be interesting. So I've got to prepare for that, really, because I'm quite, you know how I mentioned I get anxiety just for like even talking to Nate for the first time, you know, because
I'm intimidating.
No, it's nothing to do with the person. It's literally like I kind of have to get myself in like worked up, and I kind of like you won't see it, but like I have like my I use Restream. I don't use StreamYard, but like I have like my streaming app here, and the other side of my screen I'll have my notes, and like I try and stick as best to my notes as possible, but like those notes are so detailed because I have to research everybody. Yeah, you got books, like
I index cards everywhere all the time.
cue cards. Like,
Yeah.
yeah. But
I'm
yeah,
a journal person, but yeah.
yeah. No, it's hard work. Yeah. So I'm
Well,
hopefully my
it's
next
also
guest.
like you do such a good job of focusing on people. I think that, that's where your work pays off. Like, I think you've you put that focus into your questions and where you want the conversation to go, and I think that pays off. So if it gives you anxiety, and I hear that because it does the same for me, where I write a million things down, but I just want you to know that I think that your work definitely pays off. So keep
Thank you.
doing it. Maybe try to calm down a little, but like what you're doing is really working, man.
No, I gotta admit, it's been getting better because like I had my last interview was Phil, the One True Nerd King. That was like, for anybody who watches that, for content creation, especially like the amount of nuggets that he gave during that, like, with the whole algorithm and sharing stuff, like it's really insightful. But then the episode before was with Biggie Shack, and it was like, like I've watched Biggie Shack for a while now, and it was like really. And I'm just gonna put this out there. He came across to me like a sweetheart, but like, which I wouldn't have expected. So like, he was all about, like his grandma and his partner and his son, and like he really is trying to be better, like for the comic book community, and like being nice to people. So I thought he came across as a sweetheart to me, and which I think is different to what you would probably normally get to see. So I kind of hope that people get to see that as well. But I appreciate the nice words you've said about me, Nate, and how you're gonna appreciate that.
Absolutely.
But yeah, like how you gonna have you on at some point as well, buddy? I'll reach out to you if that's all right.
Yeah, well,
if you're up to it.
I'm certainly up to it. I've really enjoyed getting to talk to you. But don't schedule me and put yourself out. Like I'm the one who like sits down and the waitress comes up and I'm like, hey, I'll get this. Take your time. And if somebody else needs something, get them before me. Like, so certainly don't put yourself out for scheduling anything. But
I would. That wasn't implied, but it's almost like with the whole getting people from the comic book industry. I think my biggest fear is kind of like not knowing something or not knowing the person well enough to interview them. Like,
sure.
Because I mean, I've seen it plenty of times, and I think you guys do a great job when you have your guests on. By the way, I'm not. I think you both are great, and I think there's some shows that I've seen where they've. Oh, do you know what? I'm just going to say this. This is not against anybody we know or anything like that. So on Friday, I watched there was nothing on YouTube, right? So on Friday there was nothing on YouTube, not any channels that I was subscribed to. So like I clicked on like the live button, and then I was like, is any comic content live? Is any comic content live? And I was watching. I'm not going to say the name of the show, but I was watching it, and it was a pre-record, but they were live, so there was no engagement with the chat, like that. Like the honestly, the people who watch your content are the most important. Like that. With me, from the interviews, some of the greatest questions that I've come across, or the greatest parts I've come across, have come from somebody who's not like I'm focused on my plan for the show. And then some of the greatest questions have come from the chat. So I can only thank the comic book community and the people who watch my show. But I was just watching this thing and I was thinking, and these guys were asking a comic book artist questions about his book coming out, and they hadn't done any research. It was quite evident they didn't know what he was talking about, and I was just like, oh, it was almost as if as well that they
Was this like a corporate show at all? Was this something
It
where
wasn't
maybe the art?
corporate, but
Okay.
it was. They were talking to a guy who had some Kickstarter thing going on, and these two guys interviewing were like NFT VEVE collectors, but they collected the comics on that, but it was quite evident they didn't actually really know anything about
Yeah.
the comic book world. So it was. I'm not. I'm not going to bad mouth them because that's bad. But it was just. Yeah, I was just thinking that I've seen so much better people interview, and just think I don't want to come across as I'm unprepared. That's my biggest. I say this to my daughter all the time. Like when I was taught when I leave the house. I'm sorry if I'm dragging here. Are you guys okay for timing? Resort.
This is we said it's your show. We're just living in it.
Oh,
This is
okay.
what we do.
So I was taught growing up to basically, if you leave the house, make yourself presentable. And so I picked up my daughter this morning because she stayed over at Gran and Granddad's, and she had a football game this morning. And I was like, "You've got tomato ketchup all over your face. What? Like, if you've not looked in the mirror, I was like, I was always brought up to make sure that before I leave the house or do something, I've got to look respectable. And and part of me is I don't want that embarrassment of feeling like I'm underprepared or don't know something about it.
Mm-hmm.
And I've said this before on previous shows where I almost my wife will say to me, she'd be like, God, you know like a hell of a lot more about comics than you tell people you do. And I'm just like, and I get this at work. Like there's a lot more people who are better at my job than me, but I do know stuff, and I get imposter syndrome where I worry that people think that I don't know what I'm talking about. I do know a hell of a lot of information, but I'm too scared. It's almost like I doubt myself. So Nate, you'll understand this because you're a teacher, but when you self-doubt yourself for does anyone know the answer to this question? And then I'm like, well, yeah, I know it, but I'm not going to put my hands up because I'm too scared of the thought of getting it wrong.
Yeah.
And when someone else puts a hand up and goes, such and such, and they're like, yeah, that's correct. You're like, I should have put my hand up, should have put my hand up, should have put my hand up. And then there'll be times as well when you're like, and I've gotten better at this recently as an adult, I would say. I certainly wasn't academic at school. I was too busy playing Pokemon cards or collecting stuff on the playground. But it's great when somebody gets the question wrong and you're like, I know what. I'm like, yeah, do you know what? Someone else has been embarrassed already, but I'm 99% sure I know the answer. And then you're just basically really happy with yourself because you got it right. So,
well, there is something called the Dunning-Kruger effect, and it ties in with imposter syndrome. So The main reason people bring up the Dunning-Kruger effect is when somebody starts to know a little bit about something, they overestimate their expertise in that subject area.
Yeah.
But the opposite is also true, where if somebody knows a lot about something, they're knowledgeable enough to know that they don't know everything about it. So they underestimate their expertise in that area. And I feel like that's where a lot of imposter syndrome comes from. So those of us that are here, none of us are the most knowledgeable people, even in our circle of friends, about comic books. But in comparison to the rest of the world, I would venture to say we are in the top 1% of knowledgeability of comic books, just because it's a fascination that we have and we take to it in a specific way. But we assume that most people know more than we do. And that's just by the numbers, that can't be the case, but that's what it feels like.
Yeah, I totally agree with that.
Yeah, my part of it comes when I'm trying to put something together or get ready for something, and that's when that doubt creeps in, and I'm like, think about X, Y, and Z person who obviously knows more than you do. And all of these things are already out there. What reason does anyone have to listen to you when you don't know as much as what's already there? So that's the voice I'm battling. And sometimes, I mean, I'll be honest, I lose. Like it'll be Monday and I'm sure I'm going to do something, but I anxiety and talk myself out of it and I don't get it filmed or I don't get it done. And that happens. I mean, it happens a lot with me. And I do think that's part of this thing. And like you said, James, like not to bellyache, but it is hard work and it is there are parts of it that aren't easy. So it is nice when you hear when you hear from people that they enjoyed something that you did. Like validates that anxiety that you went through.
Oh, 100%. There's probably, you know, only a few feelings better than that. But yeah, 100% especially being appreciated by peers and people who watch your content, it's great. But yeah, yes, that's my little. I think men kind of struggle in terms of mental health a lot more than these days than probably, you know, it was probably untaught. It was, you know, years and years ago. It was probably you wouldn't even mention certain things, but it's probably we're in a better place to talk about it. But it's almost like there's probably so many things that could be attributed to many things, you know. But yeah, and Cliff is a big shout out to Cliff. He's a big ambassador for men's mental health. So shout out to him.
Yeah, he is.
There's a, if nobody else has anything that they want to promote or talk about, there's something that I want to end on, sort of what we've gotten into here in the last little bit, which is one of my favorite shows is Brooklyn Nine-Nine, and there's an episode where one of the lead characters, Captain Holt, says, every time somebody steps up and says who they really are, the world becomes a more interesting place. And one of the things that we've talked about is how important the community is, the people that are off camera, that are here supporting, that are, you know, watching the things that people like us make. And I just wanted to say, like, how appreciative we all are of that. And if you want to become a member of the community, whether or not you're, you know, watching this and just lurking, or if you're commenting, or if you're making stuff, whatever you want to do, you are the only person that can say what you want to say in the way that you want to say it. And there is value in that. So don't discount the value that you bring to the table. And if you do that, the world will become a more interesting place. But we will see you guys next week on Nate's channel for another, what is going to be an interview that will pale in comparison to this, because this was
next week?
so much fun.
Oh, thank you.
This was a blast. Yeah, hold on. Who's next week? Oh, next week is Ricky from All Sorts of Words. We're going to talk Superman.
Yeah, it's not going to be anything like this. Ricky, that guy, yeah. This has been great.
Ricky's great, to be fair. He's funny.
He's a great guy.
I hope the Superman movie's good, but if it's bad, it might be a better show next Sunday.
I want it to be good so much.
It has to be good.
But yeah, we will see you guys next week. Take care. Bye.
Thanks,
Thank
everybody.
You. Bye, everybody.
Thanks for being here, James.